Hi, I'm Ritesh and you're watching Dancing with Data. Recently I got an opportunity where I participated as a speaker in Tableau User Group Delhi event. It was held in Fidelity International on August 26, 2023. There have been a lot of posts and interaction with respect to this event, but I don't think there is any video what we talked about over there. So I would like to show preview of the topic that I had, and maybe in the future I'll have full video. So I'll show you one of the three major parts I had, and I hope you will like it. So as you can see, we had really talented speakers over there covering the topics in front of you. My topic was data can deceive. So my presentation was little unusual and you can say unconventional. You might have heard this topic earlier as well, but I don't think you would have seen the perspective that I had. So I would like to share that perspective with you, and I would love to have your feedback. You can put your comments over there. So data can deceive. From the title itself, you can think that it involves misunderstanding and misleading, which can lead to misrepresentation. Now you might think that I may talk about pie chart versus bar chart and it can deceive you, but no. I think we need to go one step back and see the things by zooming out with multiple perspectives. Basically, it talks about that it is so important for you to have good knowledge of your domain, and knowledge will come when you have the interest, and that interest will really help you to see the same scenario with different lenses, with different perspectives. So this presentation is all about that. So welcome to Data Can Deceive Part 2. So in the part 1 we talked about COVID, so that's a separate story. But in the part 2, after I got the opportunity to come back to my home after COVID-19, around 2020 September, I went back to my hometown Uttarakhand. And in the part 3, I went to Dhirendra Maharaj from Madhya Pradesh. Let's focus on data can deceive part 2. Data deception, intentional or unintentional act of misleading. So after the lockdown was relaxed, I came back to my hometown, which is Uttarakhand. So you can see where Uttarakhand is located in India. The first thing that I could see over there was human-leopard conflict rises in Uttarakhand. Over 10 people killed in 2 months. Can you believe that? And it was around September 2020. So basically, I also live around that area that you can see. And right now also I'm in that area. But anyways, I decided to do some data analysis over here in order to see if I can get something exciting or interesting. So I published this story, Man Eaters of Uttarakhand. And while I was doing my analysis, I got a few interesting points over there. There were 24 plus killed in this year, 2020, and there was 30% rise in the COVID lockdown, the casualties. The leopard human conflict, or the number of cases or the number of casualties that you have in Uttarakhand, remember, that is one of the highest in the world, not in India, but in the world. So if you talk about the first 10 months from Jan to October, 24 have been killed in leopard attacks and 13 by snake bites. So leopards quite ahead. And although we have a lot of tigers as well, but you don't see any casualty, and this point will come later. Then I wanted to analyze the victims. So I could see that most of the victims, around 80% of the victims, are females. 7-year-old girl, 7-year-old, 7-year-old, 22-year-old girl, 11-year-old girl. So it's quite unfortunate. 44 years old woman as well. So that's the trend, and that is because there should be a reason, right? That why only women, females, and all. So if you see, that's quite common in the hilly areas over there that 11-year-old girl was killed in a leopard attack in Pithoragarh district when she was working near her house and collecting fodder. So most of the time, these girls or women, they are collecting fodders. The place where I live is not quite away from these hot spots. So I, along with my wife, who is a former amateur boxer, because I wanted a solid person with me, decided to go to a spot where we had this human leopard conflict in the past. Once any leopard kill human being, the leopard is declared as man eater, and then most of the time they are killed. So I went to that spot where around I think 10 years back a leopard was killed. So now I have a video. I took video that point of time, so I would like to show you that video. So I'm going to my destination along with my wife. So I'm talking about a destination where we we had human leopard interaction that was not very sweet. It was a raining. It was a bit raining over there. That was the climate was very quite good. Anyways, so this is the same spot where a leopard was killed around 9 years back, and when I was trying to tell my story, what I could see, the same thing, a lady working over there, same place where leopards are active, right? So I talked to her that why she is there, she should be careful, and whether she knew. Then she said that, we know what to do. We need to collect fodder, or we need to cut those trees and all those things. Not cut trees, but to get those stuff for her domestic purpose. So I was like talking about the same over there, and also I was a little scared about the leopard, and but then I had a strong person with me. So anyhow, I came back and I could see that whatever analysis that I had, that was correct, and I could see in front of my eyes itself that a lady is there in the same place, in the same position where, uh, you know, there's a good chance of, leopard being there, right? I did ask one security guard near to this place, and he also told me that, yeah, leopards are active around this area, the same area that you can see in front of you. It is Haldwani, to be more precise, near Kathgodam, right? If you know about Kathgodam, in that green area that you see. That's a big area, but somewhere there. Before we move further with our analysis, let me ask you one question, right? Can you tell me the similarity between these two actresses, right? If you are from India or even from the foreign country, because both the movies were nominated for Oscar. So I assume that these are popular movies. On the left hand side, it is RRR. The movie name is RRR. On the right hand side, it is Lagan. Think. What is the similarity? In one of my presentations, one of the members from the audience said that both are beautiful. Okay, if that thing is coming in your mind, apart from that, what is the similarity? Okay, the similarity was that both were Britishers and they helped Indians in the movies, in the respective movies, right? So that is something unreal, right? How can you help Indians, right? And this is all during the colonial rule. Both were helping the Indians in a way. So we really love both the characters. But do you think that we can have such characters in real life? And yes, we have one character from Uttarakhand, and the character name is Jim Corbett. We used to call him Carpet Sai. So he was very, very, very popular in Uttarakhand. So don't see him as a hunter, but see him as a crusader for animal rights as well. Yes, Jim Corbett was responsible for the creation of first ever national park in India that is popular as Jim Corbett Park now. He tried his best to ensure that villagers live away from the core jungle area, so he was instrumental in settling those villagers in the safer zone while having Jim Corbett National Park for the animals, wild cats, and other beasts. And yes, he is from the same era where we had British colonial rule in India, but we used to love, and he saved so many lives in Uttarakhand in our state. He used to go alone in the jungle and used to kill several man eaters. Now, some people might say that, okay, why are you killing tiger and all those? Remember, this is pre 1947, and in the Guinness Book of World Record, you can find one tiger from the same place, Uttarakhand, who killed 500 people. So there is no other option. Either you capture them or you kill them. Capturing them is not easy. So most of the time, he used to kill. He used to kill, and for the people of Uttarakhand, so we owe a lot to him. In fact, his love, you can see, for the people of Uttarakhand. In his book, he says that it is of these people who are admittedly poor and who are often described as Indian starving millions, among whom I have lived and whom I love, that I shall endeavor to tell in the pages of this book, which I humbly dedicate to my friends, the poor of India. So he's talking about the people of Uttarakhand, where he used to live, right? The people who are living around the jungle area, right? The poor people of Uttarakhand. You can see the love and affection he's having for that people. And in fact, I can tell you that I live in Haldwani in the same state, and we have Jim Corbett Park, National Park, we have Jim Corbett schools, we have Jim Corbett Museum. So he's a very, very respected person in spite of being from the same era, right, British colonial rule. He was very popular, and he is very popular in India. But then what's the connection with the topic? I'll come to that. But the question over here is, we have so many casualties in the past 2 months, like 10 people were killed. But is it because of food only? What are the different reasons which are making leopard coming to the areas where people live? Is it is food the only reason, or there are more things? But whatever it is, once a leopard turns to a Man-eater leopard. There are no more other. There are only two options: either you kill or you trap. Unfortunately, option one is more popular: kill, because the wild cat is difficult to catch in the forest, and it takes extensive preparation and a large expense to capture them. So while I was thinking that there is not enough food in the jungle, so they are coming to the places where people live. But then one piece of news really attracted me, and it was a celebration time where we were celebrating tiger population rise from 560 to 560 from 442 in Uttarakhand. Means there is enough food for tigers, right? And tigers are not responsible for even a single casualty. How can you say that food is the factor for leopard, and because of that leopard are trying to move around the areas where people live? There can be multiple factors as well, but is food the only factor? The rise of tiger, the celebration in Uttarakhand, it did confuse me. The condition is that bad that so many villages are declared as ghost villages of Uttarakhand, report mass migration for the fear of leopard attacks. The four folks that you see in front of you, this is from the site down to earth, and you can see Yashoda Devi family was the last one in Bharatpur, and even they left their home in August 2022. Many of my friends complained that, hey Ritesh, I was not able to see sea tiger in the Corbett Reserve Park and all. Contact me. I will take you to all these places. The problem is that there are only four forms in which you can meet leopards. One is if you are lucky as a tourist, otherwise breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Would you still like to come? Yes? No? Anyways, after reading that piece of news from the internet, it compelled me, it forced me to go back to the same place where I went along with my wife. This time I went alone. I was a little more courageous this time. And I met one forest guard over there, and he told me a few insightful points. He told me about the human interference in the jungle, illegal poaching, illegal hunting, again illegal hunting of the animals who would probably act as food for leopards. So I get a different perspective when I met with the forest guard. But not only that, the more interesting thing is coming now. There is one more person or say animal who is forcing leopard to the areas where people live. Now, can you think? We have already mentioned about that person or that animal. Think, think, think. Okay, let me try to show you that with this filter. Who am I? So let me click on this. Who am I? And one, two, boom. Who am I? Tigers. Tigers can force them. And it took me some time to understand this part. Obviously, this is not the only reason. Scientifically, tiger are very particular about their territories and they like to live inside, deep inside the jungle. So it's like if you're a rich person, you would like to take penthouse, villas and all. You would not like to live in 1 BHK. So if you have money, you will buy those lavish houses or say villas, so forth and so on. So imagine now see the ecosystem. Zoom out and see why it is important. Tiger population increasing, leopard population is also increasing, and human population is also increasing. You can see leopard population grew by 29%. Tiger population, we already talked about that. And finally, I got this article that growing number of tigers pushing leopards out of jungle. Right after a lot of investigation and after I talked to the forest guard over there, finally I got some insightful information. My perspective got changed. And trust me, there'll be so many other variables as well. Example, age of the tiger or age of the leopard that can also force them to become man-eaters. And if I compare this whole story with a formal HR dashboard, know that whenever you leave any company, you fill that exit feedback reports. You people are really very good when the feedback is anonymous, especially the subcontinent, India and the neighboring countries. When you know that this feedback might go to the manager or you're not sure about that, then you will write, my manager is the best manager on planet Earth, something like that. But when you know that this is anonymous, then you will say, I've never seen such a toxic person in my life, right? What is the use of such a report which will be based upon such feedback, such exit report? Also, people are quite concerned about that. I would like to come back to this company, so maybe I will not write anything bad. Even if that is a genuine reason of you leaving the company, you will not put that, especially again this Indian subcontinent. If you are not getting insightful information with this report or with this data set, think in a different way. You are working in a company, you can collab with any other department and get one report. For example, in this case, we see the attrition rate and try to see what all projects are there which are top in the list when it comes to attrition rate. Why people are leaving particular projects. Maybe their working average working hours are more than the usual, more than 10 hours per day or something like that. You can also check how much hike they are getting after working so much. Is it substandard, below average? Are they getting what they deserve? I understand the performance aspect will also come over there. So you can check the performance rating as well. So if they are getting good rating but less high and they have to work more, they may go. And they may not write that reason over there. So maybe there are different ways to get the insightful information. If one is not working, you can opt for the other one or the other option, but you will have to think out of the box. You will have to zoom out and see. When I talk to the forest guard over there, it is like talking to a person who is the front line soldier for his team. For example, if we talk about the incident management, if you just go, if you're creating a dashboard or a story on incident management, just go over there in that OCC room, Operation Command Center, and you will see how the things operate, right? What they do whenever a high priority ticket comes, right? Obviously, they will be more agile at that point of time and they'll have to acknowledge that ticket within 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever the rules are there. SLA, service level agreement. Then you will see that if there is a low priority, they are a bit relaxed. So you get that information automatically. And once you see in front of you, that's a different thing. And the second thing, as I already said, zoom out is very important. See from the architecture level. There is a technical issue or a non-technical issue. It is very important. Uh, from the non-technical standpoint, I can say that how your team is related to the other teams. Because together you are generating revenue or whatever your business goals are, right? So how you depend on the other team, how the other team depends upon you. At least have this knowledge, right? That will help you to crack something which might look like a mystery for others. But if you have done this homework, if you have this attitude and aptitude for data, then trust me, it will do wonders for you. Okay, my learnings. Growing number of tigers pushing leopards out of jungle. This is one of the additional reasons which I never thought of earlier. So critical thinking, engage in critical thinking and skepticism when evaluating information. Don't accept data at face value, instead of actively question and investigate claims. Zoom out. A new, fresh perspective will be given to you if you just zoom out. User expertise is very important. Consult with subject matter expertise. Like when I interacted with the forest guard, he was like a subject matter expertise for me, who have a deep understanding of the data domain to ensure accurate interpretation and analysis. So this was my part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to have your feedback at the comment section, and hopefully I will upload the part 1 and part 3 as well, which are a part of my whole story from 2019 to 2023. So this is Ritesh signing off from Dancing with Data, क्योंकि डेटा ही दाता है क्या तुमको सब कुछ आता है. See you again. Bye bye.